Hello, my name is Honorable Gertrude Adzo Borklo, elected Assembly Member Biakwa Fuma electoral area in the West District of the Volta region. I'm an entrepreneur by profession and also an astute politician. Nice having you and nice being on the show.
What inspired you to become an assembly member?
I was in level 200 at the University of Professional Studies, where I was doing banking and finance, BSc. I identified a unique problem in my community, such that students who write the BEC have high failure levels. So from level 200, I started sending my colleagues there to go and teach when we are on vacation. So from 2012 to 2013 to 2014, I realized that there was a void in terms of leadership, in terms of who the assembly member then was and his contribution towards solving those educational problems. So whilst doing my national service, I spoke with one or two people and I decided to go and contest as assembly member in the local governance elections. So I won my first elections in 2015 when I was barely 24 years of age. So I entered into local governance very young because I identified some problems and I look forward to working towards ending those problems.
Can you walk us through your journey to winning the election? What were the challenges?
A lot. The challenges were enormous. First of all, there was some school of thought who think that I was too young. Others felt that I was a female and I couldn't do better. But then one thing that worked for me was the fact that when I went out to look for sponsorship for to support my community, some people asked me what was my role in the community. So I made them aware that I wanted them to give me that name as the elected assembly member for the electoral area so that I can use that to lobby projects and programs to come into the electoral area to support education. So I think majority of the people bought into the idea because they saw that I was already implementing certain things in that direction and they were all ready to support me.
What are your main responsibilities as an assembly member?
As an assembly member, your major responsibility is to identify problems, take them to the assembly, and lobby for projects. We have common fund coming into the assembly. We have other developmental projects that come into the assembly. So first of all, you should be someone who is good at lobbying. You should be someone who is very skilled at communication and personal relationship management to be able to lobby for such projects to come to your constituents. So basically, the role of the assembly member is to maintain peace and order and ensure or push developmental projects into their various electoral areas.
What are some of the biggest challenges you have faced as an assembly member, especially as a woman?
I would say that with time, we've outgrown our challenges because, like I said initially, people had the perception that I was female and I couldn't function in a leadership role as at that age. So some people were looking out for you to fail, but then the motivation was in the fact that your productivity brings the statement. Your productivity brings to them the understanding that you can do and do better than what you have come to meet. So basically, it's just the stereotypes about being female, the stereotypes about you being too young and you not being able to work effectively in that role. And over time, I've been able to prove the naysayers wrong.
How have you navigated gender biases in local governance?
We grow into it. We grow into it because with time you realize that when certain negative comments are passed, you just overlook it and walk away. The vision we carry and the mission we are on does not really give us the opportunity to explain ourselves. You create a statement around you. You know, leadership and women in leadership is quite difficult. People feel that um with time, who you can't do anything. Oh, like people have their own stereotypes about leadership and when it comes to women. So affirmative action is doing well for us, but then some of us have decided to grow a tough skin, ensure that we make the statement with our attitude, with our behavior, and with the development and productivity we churn out. So yes, we are really going through a lot when it comes to women in leadership and what conversations or what things people say about us. But with time, you grow a tough skin and you are good to go.
Politics is often male dominated. What advice would you give to young women who want to enter politics or leadership roles?
Okay. Young women who want to come into politics, who want to come into local governance, I think it's about time they do. Take the step. You would get people who oppose you, but then stamp your feet, ensure that whatever it is, whatever vision you have to run, you run with it. You don't necessarily have to listen to what the environment says. I think that those of us who are leaders, who are women, have been able to maintain ourselves and create a conducive environment to hold the other young woman to be able to climb up the climb up the stairs, you see. Like I said, it was just recently that Ghana had its first female vice president. And I think that alone has passed a statement around to those young women out there who are ambitious, who want to come into the political or the leadership domain. If Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, Her Excellency, has been able to climb that high, it means that there's available um, location or room for us to also climb up the political um, stairs. So I look forward to them coming around. They should try. They should take the step, and then there are other women capable of holding their hands and pulling them along.
What are the most pressing issues facing your community and how are you addressing them?
Okay, so first of all, I would say my community is a rural area, so majority of the constituents are into farming and um, most recently riding of motor. So youth development, we have challenges of youth development as there are no factories there to employ the youth who are done with education or are waiting their results. So you realize that most of my youth have moved to the urban centers to be able to get meaningful jobs that will empower them. So job creation is also one of the issues we face. Women development in terms of small scale or women support or loans that they'll be able to use to work. We also have educational issues. Not what I spoke about earlier, that was the 0% failure because we've been able to upgrade, we've been able to perform better as the years moved by. But then in terms of educational infrastructure, the population is growing in a fast manner, but we don't have educational facilities that can absorb the growing population. So we have a challenge there too. And in terms of health, my electoral area has two CHIPS compounds. So in as much as possible, we are working towards getting a polyclinic status or something so that we can get more staff and equipment into any of those CHIPS compounds and upgrade to a polyclinic status.
How do you engage with your constituents to understand their needs and concerns?
Community engagement, because that is when they are able to air the issues they have. They are able to um tell you the problems they have identified or what they are at. So mostly community engagement, conversations with stakeholders and chiefs and pressure groups, youth leaders, leaders of the various organizations they have or groups they have, Motor Riders Association, Farmers Unions. Yes, that's how I've been able to work so far.
How has your background in finance helped you make better decisions for your community?
I have a background in banking and finance and development finance, and I think that's the knowledge and exposure I've had learning those two journeys has been able to help me to allocate resources, to lobby, to be able to maximize whatever is within our reach to ensure that all the communities are all growing together. I have 5 communities under my electoral area, and no one has been left behind in terms of resource mobilization, in terms of sharing the national cake that I've been given to share. Yes, so I think that so far so good.
What role does entrepreneurship play in community development, and how do you support local businesses?
Entrepreneurship plays a lot of role because first of all, it helps people become gainfully employed or are able to support their livelihoods. Quite recently, we had an NGO support coming in to train some of my women and my men on seal farming, rabbit farming, oil palm processing, gari processing. After which they were given some stipend to start operations. I think that entrepreneurship supports the whole household in getting something that they can rely on, not just for them to sit and do just farming, but then they are able to earn other sources of income that supports their expenditure and supports their children. So I think that in general, entrepreneurship plays a great role in community development.
What are your long term goals as an assembly member? Are you considering higher political office in the future?
I think that the ultimate of climbing every ladder is for you to get to somewhere. And with leadership and politics, the opportunities are endless. So I'm looking at serving in any other capacity aside what I'm already doing. Ultimately, getting there is part of the vision. So I look forward to one day getting there, adding my voice to policy, adding my voice to development, adding my voice to women empowerment in Ghana.
How do you think governance can be improved at the local level in Ghana?
Okay, first of all, as assembly members, we become the representative of the governance in our communities. And over time, I feel that the assembly member is not really empowered to do what they are supposed to do. Our role is enormous as compared to the member of parliament who goes to the chamber to make laws as per constitution, uh, as the constitution says. But then assembly members are with the people at the local level, and we face majority of the problems down there. It's just recently that the government of the day has come out with a directive to give us monthly stipends to be able to support us. Aside that, assembly members, formally, we are not paid, we are not given any support. There's no electoral area fund coming in aside um, the funds that come into the assembly, which is managed by the district chief executive and the coordinating director. So assembly members are given a role to play, which is very massive, with little resources to execute. So I think that the government of the day has done well by saying that they will support assembly members with stipends for them to be able to operate effectively. But one thing I'll also plead with them to look at is creating electoral area funds that support electoral area based projects in our various electoral areas so that we can fully represent the government well, look like the government, and implement whatever policies that the government of the day has outlined for its people.
What legacy do you hope to leave behind in your community and in Ghana as a whole?
I've been able to mentor a lot of young women from my electoral area. As I speak, I'm currently doing a project of raising a young female lawyer from Biakma. I've been able to support in terms of education, in terms of business. Um, I'm looking forward to creating a lot of impact so that when my name is mentioned in the electoral area, it will be aligned with positive projects, positive programs, positive interventions, as well as positive growth.